You know, what's the best way to make a million in podcasting? If you invest $1 billion. Our main criteria is that the person answers us on WhatsApp. And there is a big part which is hustle porn. Years of work in, and you have to make sure that the timing is good and you're lucky. Then you can maybe make some money, but that shouldn't be a precondition to start a podcast. That would be crazy.
Each sponsor pays approximately 1.4 million for 4 episodes. Oh my days. Can you make millions with podcasts or actually lose and spend millions while trying to become famous or trying to grow your podcast? Today, I'm with Matis and we actually have a podcast. So we have a podcast that has 15,000 subscribers in the local market, which is Latvia. And we have also an international podcast, which has 1,000 subscribers, not so much. But we actually are going to share breakdown of how much money we spend. Do we generate money? And we will talk about some of the industry numbers. And we will also look at some of the great examples that where actually podcasts make 20 million per year in income. So all that stuff we're going to cover.
Nice.
Today.
I have a very stupid joke to offer. You know, what's the best way to make a million in podcasting? If you invest $1 billion.
That's a good one.
Warren Buffett said this about airlines. Like, the best way to become a millionaire is invest billions in the airline business.
Oh, we're going to
This is one
start
of
off
ours.
with that one. I want to start off with some generic, big statistics. So let me ask you this. How many podcasts do you think exist worldwide?
Let's say 3 million.
Wow. It's a little bit over 5 million.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great. And it is estimated to have 70 million episodes published so far.
70 million episodes.
70 million.
Jesus
So averaging around 14 per podcast.
Wow.
Okay. Which means many podcasters cancel after their first episodes.
Are there any statistics, like percentage-wise, of the podcasters that start? How many cancel?
We will find it out. We will find it. We don't have it now yet ready, but we'll
because
find
I'm pretty
it out.
sure that there are not many people that keep going for years and years and years.
Yeah. In our Latvian podcast channel,
For
we're
sure.
doing it for like 6.5 or 7 years already.
Which is like you're a podcast OG.
Yeah, like actually, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's talk about the next statistic, which is the market for podcasting. And it is said to be that there are 464 million people that listen to podcasts.
Only 464 million?
Yes.
Wow. I would have thought that it's like more like, I don't know, some 2 billion or something, but we live probably in the Western kind of bubble.
Yeah,
Okay.
it might be that this statistic is more specifically for podcasts, which might be not YouTube. I think it's not YouTube included. In the US, it's the largest market. They have over 100 million monthly listeners.
Right.
So it means every 1 out of 3 Americans listen to a podcast, which is pretty a lot of people.
Yeah.
Then I think I have the next great example. Who do you think makes the most money with podcasts? What would you say?
Like a specific podcaster?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan, yes. I think he's on the top of the list. He has estimated earnings of 30 to 50 million per year. Biggest deal is Spotify deal. Yeah. For 200 million.
Yeah, where he sold basically his podcasting rights to Spotify.
Some other good examples are Alex Cooper, Call Her Daddy. I actually don't know that podcast.
Yeah, I've heard the podcast. I've never seen it, but I've heard the name.
Okay.
Call Her
Then
Daddy.
it's also Dax Shepard, Armchair Expert.
Okay,
It's Bill Simons, the Ringer Podcast Network. It is Anything Goes by Emma Chamberlain. Yeah, okay. Those are the big ones. And I think one of the ones which we will talk about more in detail is The Diary of CEO.
Yes, for sure.
By Stephen
Bartlett.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll just add one point. Actually, we could maybe like share some statistics from a research paper that is prepared by a company called Social Capital. It's a VC firm in Silicon Valley, run by this fairly famous billionaire guy, Chamath Palihapitiya, part of the All In podcast hosts, the Sri Lankan origin guy, and he has a very cool program where they do research on various different topics, mostly tech related, but it can be many different things. And one of those research pieces that they did was about not podcasting specifically, but influencer economy, where he basically laid down across like 100 slides in a very easy to perceive format how the media distribution has changed in terms of, in the past it was like, 5 big media outlets, some newspapers, some TV channels, some radio, and they would be the gatekeepers for the information. They would be vetting the information and so on and so forth, and that was distributed onto to the audience. And now all of that is like drastically changing to a more decentralized kind of model where there's all these content creators. The vetting and the curation of the quality of the information is much lower, but it's much more liberalized. Yes, and obviously the podcasters plays like a massive role into this. And there were many examples of this. Mr. Beast, that's now he has more views for sure, and he has 500 million, I think, subscribers across the channels that he has, which is far more than CNN plus other major media outlets combined. And that just shows that this podcasting, one for sure, and influencer economy just completely has exploded, right?
Yeah.
And has created this whole economy where people that are, at the top of this creator economy, they create their own brands and they have direct distribution with their own clientele and so all that.
One more example for that. This here you can see this is our Latvian channel, and I want to just show one example where, okay, here we have an episode we filmed with this person whose name is Viesturs, and he had a book in Latvia. So the book was not so famous because nobody knew it. We made an episode, and the book got Latvia's #1 bookseller. And by the way, Latvia...
That's like super amazing.
Yeah, that's a great story. That's actually a true story. And the interesting part is, like we did this one episode, and in Latvia, of course, 57,000 views is like a lot in Latvia, because Latvia is like...
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's like...
Any sentence.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll just mention very quickly example with the Steve Bartlett diary of the CEO. There is a specific guy called Daniel Priestley. And I know him personally. We worked a little bit on personal branding and marketing questions back, I think 6-7 years ago. Amazing entrepreneur from Australia, but resides in the UK for a long time. Like I said, I know him for a long time. He has a company called Dent where he helps entrepreneurs basically sell themselves, and he provides different types of tools and a mindset and so on and so forth, and has a lot of events and so on. And he has been very consistent in putting out content, videos about different topics: AI, entrepreneurship, SME sales, all the sort of things. And he got into invited to Diary of the CEO podcast. And he's very well spoken. He's been, speaking and making content for years. So naturally, he was very well prepared for that. And it was a very popular podcast because it touched a popular topic, which was basically entrepreneurship, how to scale, things that we're discussing here. And his episode was very successful, even though he's not like a A-list sort of a guest for a podcast like that. He's not Richard Branson and so on. So you would expect that he would get less views, but he got a lot of views, 1 million over. And since then, if you look at his LinkedIn posts or anything he does, man, it's exploded. It's 10x or maybe 50x compared to whatever he was doing before. And he got invited to a debate with another guy that's fairly popular in the UK about UK kind of economic crisis. It was a very high quality debate. 3 million or so views, completely exploded. So his kind of recognition exploded because of his, attendance to the podcast, right? So these platforms can really shoot you up.
Exactly,
very,
and this
very
can
massively.
this is basically many founders actually do use it as a marketing mechanism.
Yeah.
It's like marketing about your company, about your brand, about what you do, especially for consultants.
Yeah.
Like Chris Voss, this negotiation expert, wrote the book. Also goes to all of these speaking, everybody hears him. Or the most, I think, example which many people know is this Jordan Peterson.
Yeah,
the
Jordan
same
Peterson,
thing.
for sure.
He got exposed by creating actually content on YouTube. He had these lectures published about how to be a man. Let's look at some more interesting data, and then we'll go to more specific case studies, and then we'll cover our cost structure. We're going to share actually the numbers, how much we spend, what we make, do we make any money, and etc. Here's a question. How many podcasts get published per day? What do you think?
Online, yeah?
Yeah.
So we have about 5 million podcasts. Okay, but that's
Now, this is
overall.
actual, right now. It's very popular now.
Okay, let's say, I don't know, 200,000.
Oh, okay. It's 75 to 85,000 new episodes per day. Episodes, but episodes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Episodes per day.
That's quite a lot. And which means, hey, there are 450 million people listening.
Yeah. Half a
And
billion
it-
of people.
And it
in the world.
means it's like one seventh is being pushed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
1/7 of that every day, new
Yeah.
content.
Yeah. And like it's a big, which we could talk about maybe later on. How do you not get swamped or sink into this information ocean of information of new podcasts and all of that, because there's only so much time
Yeah.
that you can dedicate to listening to many things. That's a different topic, but I think that's the other side of this coin. From one thing, it's a liberation of content creation. Anybody that has a camera and a basic mic can start creating podcasts, and you have instant like worldwide scalable platforms where you can put this on. But then the other side is that everybody can do it, and then there's a question of quality, question of like how much time can you spend on this. So there's a flip coin to this.
And I think who wins? The people who can, I guess, do it the longest. Like, for example, the Mr. Beast example. He has done it like so long.
Yeah,
like,
for
so
sure.
long.
I think the winners are the owners of the platforms, as always. You know?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not it's not the horse racing people or the people that bet on the horse racing. It's the owner of the stadium that
Yeah.
makes all the money.
Or the
that's always
casino example.
Yeah, or the casino.
Not the
example.
players, but the casino.
Yeah.
I guess this is the same example, right?
Yeah.
That's why Google bought YouTube, right? A good deal.
Yes.
I think it was a couple of billion they paid.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Okay. Let's talk about a little bit more. Okay, let's cover some interesting data about, let's say, the podcast called Diary of the CEO. I think most likely that you have seen it. Most likely you have watched some episodes. Here you can see the cadence. They're actually pushing out 2 to 3 episodes per week, which is,
Wow, really?
yeah, you can see.
insane. That's like a full-on dedication.
Yeah, and they have like, I think, a full-on team.
Can you just go a little bit? Maybe type in Daniel Priestley and what was his name? The other guy. Daniel Priestley. Yeah. Gary Stevenson. That's it.
This
Look at
one?
that 4 million, man. 4 million.
This one, right?
Yeah, views. One of the, I think, bigger episodes that they've had ever. And the first one he did was 3.9, the money making expert. That one.
This one, yeah.
So that was very popular. Also 4 million. That's crazy. It's
Right?
insane. Yeah.
You basically go there, become famous.
Yeah.
But I guess the question is, how
But
do you...
he was very. It wasn't like it was an overnight kind of success story. He was doing content like this. He's very well trained and kind of fit to package his message for the podcast format. I mean, like many people are good at
Not
providing
prepared.
information, but it's a different story. Right? He was
Yeah.
in a perfect time with the perfect message.
And here, there's 2 things. Like, one side is, hey, if you have a podcast, how do you get good guests? And the second thing is, hey, if you're an interesting person, how do you become a guest on a podcast? So for us, maybe with our experience, so we have defined some credentials or some kind of requirements. For us, for the Black Box show, we have requirements that you have to have a business that does over $1 million per year. And we need, and I guess we need to like you. I guess we will probably
Be
not
interested in the person, in the story, and in the business.
Yeah. And here Mattis had some funny thing he wanted to share how
Let's put it this way. Diary of the CEO, they have very high standards for getting guests to their podcast, right? They need to be super cool, special, and so on. Especially the same goes for the sponsors. Our main criteria is that the person, the person we're inviting for the podcast, answers us on WhatsApp when we invite them. So
Right.
that's our level.
But
Just kidding.
the ladder needs to be still true, right? The 1 million, and that still needs to be true.
That's for sure.
Yeah, but we have, I guess, more this. We want to get people on, and we're actually like proactively doing that. It's not actually so simple.
Yes.
Okay, in Latvia right now we have a platform, we have the views. I guess it's much more simpler. But here, let me
It's
show
like
you
another sales process, basically.
Yeah, it's like a sales process. So here we have a channel that is the new channel, which is the English channel. Here you can see it's just called Black Box, and you can see here for we have had I think 7 or 8 guests already internationally, like here in Lithuania. This was in Riga. But it's much more difficult to get guests. And I guess here our process is many things. So we try to get intros from other people who have been on the show. We send actual messages to PR companies asking them, do they have a client that could be a guest? Then we just reach out to some founders we know have businesses that do over 10 million per year. We just message them, and that's our process. And it's like a dedicated person that just does this stuff.
Exactly.
And
I think it's also a question of kind of brand awareness, because Black Box show, Stay Sharp show before, has very good brand recognition in Latvia. People know it, people know you easily. And so it's easier to come from that place and invite guests, and it's just better response rate and engagement. While if you're an unknown brand, whether a podcast or a business going into a new market, basically you're kind of a nobody. So it's an extra barrier to cover.
Yeah, and it's tough. Not so easy. Not so easy. Okay, let's continue.
So let's go through like the numbers, because I think it's an interesting case study to take one of the fastest growing, one of the more successful podcasts that is also not focused on business, but the host is a business person. Let's say I don't think they're focused on business. They have many different topics. But how does the podcast like that look from a commercial, from a business standpoint? Revenue? Do they make money? Do they not make money? And then we can go to one or two other examples, and then we can talk about ourselves, which is of a much smaller volume in terms of costs and revenues, but still interesting.
For these kind of podcasts, I think there's two big categories of how they make money. One of them is they have a generic overarching sponsor. Like, for example, My First Million, they have the home sponsor HubSpot. So one big company features them. They are like always mentioning HubSpot, only ads about HubSpot. They have the logo of HubSpot. As for us, it would be Black Box on top of it, HubSpot. That's one way. And the second big way is in video mentioning of the products or sponsors for people. Like Diary of CEO, they have, I think, different sponsors every time. It changes. Yes. Sometimes it's multiple times.
I think Huel, this
Huel
company is one of their also.
Probably Whoop, like some big brands. And typically these businesses are mass to consumer. Right. Typically who use podcasts.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You don't want to sell enterprise sophisticated software through a podcast. Yeah.
Those are the big ones, and probably maybe the next one, which is maybe not so popular, it is you creating your own products. Like Mr. Beast, Feastable.
Sure.
Actually, there's a really good example. This podcaster, he's actually, let's put him on. Matis probably has never seen this guy, but this is just a guy has 17. I have seen him.
I've seen the face.
Know what? He makes basically videos, like just talking. Just like this. And he basically sells soap.
Really?
Yeah. He has his soap company. It's Cheeky. He sells soap.
Wow.
Yeah. He made his soap. He had problem with soap, so he has soap now.
Is he? Do you know any numbers? Probably he's doing well. He's got 17
we'll
million subscribers.
Yeah. I can imagine it's pretty, it's hard to say. No data.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. But I think you need to reach a certain size to be able to go into this merch or product kind of direction. Valuetainment, another very popular big podcast in the US, and they sell, I'm not sure how much business they make off it, but they sell T-shirts and basically clothing as part of their brand and as part of their podcast.
Yeah. But what I have noticed, they're doing a lot of these like short form videos. Like so much.
Yeah.
It's like,
but it's also interesting, like how they've not pivoted, but expanded from the original podcast, which was the guy going around the US and basically interviewing mafiosos.
Yeah, like this one, right?
Ex-mafia guys, which was a nice niche, and it fits the guy because he's naturally interested in that and such. And then they went on to a bigger scale, higher production quality, but still business-related topics.
Yeah.
And then they went not all in on, but like expanded actively into entertainment, gossip, kind of current trends, commentary type of direction. And like whether you want it or not, because I'm a follower of the podcast, because of like, let's say, high value and of business content or like specific discussions with entrepreneurs and so on, I have it in my feed. And I would, on the weekend, I almost watched 2 hours of an interview with Scott Storch, which is one of the top hip hop and basically like a massive producer, beat maker and producer, like Dr. Dre. He's the same level, super famous, super rich, and so on. Maybe less known, and I just was interested, and it was nothing to. It was pure entertainment, right? The stories and so on. And I, as a follower, I would still watch it. So that's an interesting way that they've been able to expand this range of topics they cover.
I guess why? I guess like why?
I guess to get more people, because if you're talking with mafiosos about, like, for example, I didn't watch the interviews because the guy was talking to ex-Italian mafia guys. I was not interested in the topic, maybe like one or two, but it's not really my thing. I was interested because they covered business topics, and I'm sure that because they cover more general commentary, kind of current trends type of things, they just managed to get much wider audiences and much bigger following. And that's the same with Stephen Bartlett, right? He covers many different topics. So women, different ages can watch it. Guys who are into fitness, who are into business, into many different topics can watch it. And it's all across the board. And that's one of the things that we can explore as well in the future.
And here's one more example, which you actually showed me. Soft white underbelly.
Right.
This is like, again, completely opposite.
A very specific niche.
And this,
and also in this niche, so this guy basically talks to the underworld of started in LA. There was this strip or whatever street where all the homeless drug addicts and so on, like really like people that live on the streets. He was interviewing them, and he expanded into talking to people that come from very different and weird and interesting backgrounds, like corrupt police officers that have gone to prison, not like bums on the street or drug addicts. And he has also expanded the range of the types of people that he talks to. So I think this expansion of topics is a natural thing, but only once and if you manage to get saturated or have a proper audience with one specific topic.
You start in a small like glass, then you do a pond, then a lake, then and then
I think that's very distinct with the successful
I think so.
podcast.
And I think also for us, if we look at our channel, I guess also for us, we need to be, I guess, more maybe niche down initially to kind of pump it up. I guess, okay, we have this Eastern European, but it's still, I guess, maybe feels broad.
Still go like more niche.
Yeah, feels broad, I guess, right?
That's a good point. Do you want to mention some numbers with this Dario, the CEO? Because I think that's subscribers. I like this summary of what types of guests did they invite and what are the revenue numbers. Because
Let's do that. So we have the revenue numbers. I guess it's around estimated to be 20 million per year in pounds.
Yeah, so
which
about
is around
$25 million per year.
The next things, what they, how they kind of credit their success to, it's obsessing over 1% improvements, creating a culture of experimentation, and hiring exceptional talent. He spends estimated of 30 to 40 hours per week recruiting, which is a lot of hours.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure, what I've noticed, they had this great Forbes video about their show and about their business model. And there was a piece about how they were trying to get an interview with Mr. Beast, and they were struggling and hiring private jets in the middle of the night to kind of make it all happen. And there is a big part of it which is hustle porn. Do you know the term hustle porn? Which is basically you're showing off how hard you're working. It's called hustle porn. Like just showing like super long hours. Gary Vee was one of the first OGs that was like, which is justified in many cases, that you put in the hours and all this message of like really hard work. But it's not only hard work. I mean, if it was all about hard work, then the hardest working people will be the richest. But those are not the richest. There's many other aspects. And with this, with their story with Dario, the CEO, there's a lot of like, we're just like working so hard, like testing so many different things. There's a fine line between that making sense and that being another kind of sales point where you're just like, showing that you're this hustler at all times, but it not necessarily adds value. But anyway, that's a different topic.
So statistics, tens of millions per video.
That top video was like top views for the number one video was, how much was it?
And also one cool information that this podcast is also for 8 years now available.
Yeah.
So,
it's not a 3-year story where they blew up.
Yeah, exactly. Not. But I guess the views are exploding, I guess, from last year.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What is also important, I guess, that the podcast has multiple platforms where they publish them. They have an insanely good retention rate, which is 60% of people finish the 1 hour episode, which
Yeah.
is, I guess, really good.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And 40 plus versions of each episode exists in different formats for decentralized, no, in other platforms, basically. So cut versions,
Okay.
this and that way.
So they
etc.
work a lot on distribution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the sponsors that have been there are Huel, Mercedes, Whoop, Blue Jeans, Fiverr, My Energy. I guess I pronounced that right.
8 years, okay. Stats and other growth, tens of millions of views per episode. Well, that's not correct, but it's combined probably. First podcast more to appear on airlines, yeah. Prisons, military screens, yeah. That's like a massive distribution. I think that's like a huge thing. Where they have managed to do distribution that's not just putting stuff on YouTube and on Spotify, but other channels such as airlines. But I guess you got to be very dominant to have a brand that non-standard distribution channels would accept, like these airlines. They wouldn't just host like a YouTuber that has like, let's say 50K followers.
So they have their podcast on airlines?
Yes, like literally you can watch a movie and you can watch Diary of the CEO
Podcast on airlines?
Yes, yeah. I've seen it.
Wow.
I've seen it on some flights.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
So I think that's magic. How do you get in there? Because that's a big distribution agreement with an airline or with a company probably that manages that part of the business for the airlines. Probably it's not the airline itself.
It's interesting. Okay. And I also see here prisons, military bases, and gym equipments.
Yeah.
So the next one is UK-based 20 VCs podcast by Harry
Stebbings. Yeah.
Stebbings. Okay, this is the podcast. Here you can see how it looks.
You can see that the thumbnail, the upper part, whatever it's called, wallpaper, is basically copy paste from the Diary of the CEO.
Yeah, with founders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's very similar.
Copy with pride.
Copy with pride. Why not? Here you can see the cadence. So the cadence, I guess, is very similar to also.
So cadence meaning how often do they post the videos?
Yeah. And they very specifically focus on tech startups.
Well, tech
founders,
not startups, but high growth tech unicorns, rather, that have been all VC funded. I think his background is VC. All the topics, questions, all of that goes back to like a multi-billion success stories that come from the tech world, more or less, with some exceptions. But that primarily is.
Yeah, and many videos publishing. Yeah, great. This is a great example. And they also do, I guess, with the same person multiple times. Here I see.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
I'll just mention some statistics. Revenue, we found that they do about 20,000 euros a month.
Revenue.
Yes.
Okay.
Which could be, I hope it's true. No, they do more because here we have. No, yeah. That's right. We're talking about acquired and 20 VC, about 20,000 euros revenue a month. But I think here it's important
just
to mention,
from YouTube. I think that's
But it's important to mention that this host has a VC company which raised a lot of money, 370 million for a fund, and a large part of the success of that fundraise was this specific podcast. Even though it hasn't got like massive amounts of subscribers by global standards, 150,000. It's a lot, but it's not millions. But it's very specific, and he is a very therefore known brand as an individual in the VC world. So that is where a podcast has helped the main business.
And I think the sponsorship deals based on so niched product could be really good.
Yes, exactly.
Like Naval Ravikant, he has this venture capital platform. He could be looking at sponsoring some of this stuff.
Yeah.
To be in front of founders and people like that who listen to this, because I guess a typical person who listens to the Diary of CEO would, I guess, not be the same who listens to this. This is way more niche.
Well, no, it could be some that are interested in personal development topics, whatever mindset and so on. Yes, but you have to be interested, therefore, also in like unicorn tech stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go to Acquired by Ben.
Can we pull it up on the screen?
Yes, let's open it.
Because I've heard of the name, but I have not watched it actually myself.
This is the podcast called Acquired.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have some cool guests.
Focused on business primarily.
Yes. Also Duolingo. Oh, I guess we need to also get the Duolingo guy here. Because he was at the 20 VCs also, like recently. So I guess
Is he the one that invented this toy?
Yeah,
It
no,
is
it's
now-
this app, Duolingo.
okay.
It's like a learning.
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 Yeah, sorry, yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Okay, these are the videos. Okay, let's talk about some statistics. So,
230,000 subscribers. Biggest video close to 900,000 views, close to 1 million. Yes.
close to 1 million, yes.
Yeah, 600,000 monthly listeners, and episodes get about 1 million downloads.
And these are primarily probably on podcast Apple and Spotify.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Revenue 4 million plus annually from high value sponsored deals, such as Avanda, Pilot, and Vouch. I actually don't know those companies. Each sponsor pays approximately of 1.4 million for 4 episodes. Oh my days.
Yeah, that sounds
How
like
much
a lot.
that is per episode?
Yeah, 1.4 million for 4 episodes. It's about 300,000. That's
350,000 per
yeah.
episode. Wow.
That sounds
Too much.
huge. Sounds like
Sounds really a lot.
yeah.
Maybe. Okay. This is our guys. This is our research team. Prepare this research. Next time we'll ask them the source of every statistic.
Yeah, we should. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. We need to put when we talk
Sources.
about kind of information like this, put sources in the
Yeah.
description. Okay, cool.
Okay. So actually, you can make money with podcasts, and I think kind of a thing that we see for people who would start out is being more niche could be better for you to not to try to be about
Too
everything.
general.
Yeah, about general.
Right.
Especially because of the competition, and especially you can actually, you can see here like 4 million per year with only 220,000 subscribers. That looks great.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Let's wrap up with the summary about our numbers.
Yes.
We're ready to go naked and tell
ready
the
to go
real
naked.
secrets of podcasting in Latvia.
So we have 2 channels. One is the main channel in Latvia, 15,000 subscribers, and we have the other channel in English, 1,000 subscribers. Then we have approximately 6 to 8 other social media accounts in TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, where we distribute clips. So we basically every day we publish 4 to 7 clips or short form videos per day in all of these platforms which I mentioned. Then how many videos we publish? So the short form, as I said, long form in Latvia we try to do 4 videos per month, and in English we also try to do 4 videos per month. But typically we actually do 3, maybe sometimes 2. But we're gonna push that to be 4 per month. Per month, but we'll try to improve that.
Yeah, and in terms of numbers, commercial numbers, money. So I think on average we spend about 10,000 euros budget costs basically to run the whole episode, all these episodes on a monthly basis, and that includes equipment, that includes the editing, filming, getting the guests' salary to the people that are supporting the podcast. Yeah. That's our budget, right?
And we as hosts, we get no money.
Yes.
For example. So we have a main person, which is the director of all of the content. She organizes everything. That is a big cost kind of bucket. Then we have, as Matti said, we have actually one filming person.
Yeah.
Then we have one man editing person. And then we have people who help us with research and people who help us to clip and publish short form videos.
And then we invested in a super cool studio.
Then we invest in a super cool studio.
Yeah, which also adds a lot of value. We do it for the pleasure, though. We don't get money, but we get pleasure. I would like to actually wrap up, at least from my side, with a very important point, because you have a lot of experience in a podcast format. I have also years of experience actually filming videos, just generally talking about business and posting it on YouTube. So more of a, not podcaster, but like a YouTuber type of approach. And the critical thing, I think, especially and now, it's like so cool to have a podcast. It's so cool to be a YouTuber, right?
And this is the videos.
Yes, exactly. Those are all like, I don't know, hundreds or so.
You actually started sooner than me.
Man, exactly.
Yeah.
10 years ago. Yes,
We're the OGs. We're the OGs of Eastern.
I remember the first video I did from
we are the OGs of Eastern Europe.
Absolutely. And the point is, you gotta, if you choose to do it because you love it. It's a hobby. You enjoy it, not because you are intending to make money. Maybe you can intend to have some sponsors or whatever, but not that you would make profits or so. It happens rarely, and you have to put years of work in, and you have to make sure that the timing is good and you're lucky. Then you can maybe make some money, but that shouldn't be a precondition to start a podcast. That would be crazy.
Yeah. And it's, I guess for us, it's more like just doing it for also the fun.
Yeah.
and networking. I
And-
think the network is a great thing.
Networking is a great additional thing, and being I don't know, naturally curious about certain topics. Like I was enjoying the conversation with Latrap's founder very much because it was information that was new, fresh, and I was literally checking the episode, the podcast and the conversation, not because it is our podcast, but because I really was keen on getting that information.
Yeah, cool. And okay, do we make some money? So currently, we have only made from YouTube AdSense.
Yeah.
We were making 300 to 1,000 per month.
Yeah.
And now we actually have our first kind of, maybe it is, we can say it, maybe not, but we have a deal from one of the sponsors where we'll have some income generated after almost a year of really dedicated, like
Work.
specific work.
Yeah. And that will cover maybe like, I don't know, 20% of our expenses.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Still way to go to
But
make
we're
it,
still,
break
I
even.
guess the ideal scenario would be to keep doing it and have like a zero situation.
Yes.
Like,
So you're
income.
breaking even. Exactly.
Yeah.
With sponsors, you can cover your costs.
Yeah. And what we're doing as an experiment, we're trying to find distribution partners, such as big media companies. Like in Latvia, there's a company called Delphi or a company called Dienas Business or Diena. So we're also looking for that. And we also have an agreement with them. So we're planning to do that also in the near future as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's also
To
interesting.
increase the distribution.
Yeah. I guess that's for the podcast. So yeah, it's pretty...
Stay sharp.
Stay sharp, make a move,
That's it.
and see you in the next video.
And subscribe.
And subscribe. And let us know in the comments what you think about the episode. Did you like it? What specifically are you more interested in so we can make better content in the future?